The sudden shift to online learning means that there are now huge amounts of tech tools available to support this. This video is not a review of those tools or a recommendation of which ones to use. Why not? Because research into online learning shows that choice of technology is not going to be the deciding factor in student success. So what is the strongest factor? It might surprise you to learn that these are exactly the same as in a face-to-face classroom: student skills and teacher behaviours. In research carried out on student motivation and success in online learning, students who successfully completed courses and had lasting conceptual understanding had high levels of these skills. Firstly, they were self-regulated learners. Students could manage their time, they could recognise when they were being distracted, and they know how to create an environment that's conducive to learning, like removing phones, being well rested, having the correct materials. They can monitor, direct, and regulate their actions to help achieve a learning goal. The second one is persistence in adversity. Students who are successful in online learning can overcome setbacks, like the internet being slow, poor sound or video connections, a missing instruction or a resource, or the fact that they have to wait for the right time zone for the help to become available. Students don't give up easily, and they look for alternative paths to reach their goal. The third skill that is crucial to student success is for the students to be great communicators. Don't get mistaken in thinking that this means students who speak up or who tend to be extroverts. Students with strong communication skills succeed because they know how to seek help or collaborate using various communication channels. They email their teachers, they use group chat with their friends, they can formulate and ask questions, and they can advocate for themselves and get support. So here are some quick tips for teachers and parents on how best to support your students and children in online learning, regardless of what technology you're using. Teachers, you know that your students need structure. In your face-to-face teaching, you set up your classroom in a specific way, you close the door, you minimize distractions. Unfortunately, in your online classroom, you're competing against the biggest distraction there is, the internet. Your students log into their learning portal, and before you know it, they've opened up 3,647 tabs. As teachers, how do we even begin to compete with that? For those teachers who have already worked with their students face-to-face, you have an immediate advantage that you need to capitalize on. You already know your students' interests, skills, and strengths. You know their challenges. You know what engages them in the classroom. You have a rapport with them. Use this. Make time to chat with your students. Don't stress about the time available to get through content. Continue to connect with your students every time you communicate with them, whether it's by video or email. Ask them about what they've been reading or watching. Ask them about their hobbies, what they've created or invented, or what they've been doing to get some exercise. Ask them about the things you know they are interested in. The second tip is to keep it short and sweet and focused. Remember all those browser tabs your student has open? Help your students regulate their learning and maintain focus by giving them a very clear structure, start and end time, and specific objective for the meeting. Do less than what you think you need. If you finish early, great. This is not the time to think like a brand new teacher and over-prepare 3 hours of activities for a 45-minute lesson just in case. The third tip for teachers is to keep it regular and reassuring. Maintain structure for your students by scheduling classes and check-ins on a regular basis. Be flexible with the students on what format they want. This is similar to the essential agreements that you would set up in a face-to-face classroom. Agree with your students on a regular email or joining a class hangout or whatever tools and modes you are using. Unlike a physical classroom where eye contact or a head nod might be enough to reassure students that they're on the right track, a teacher in an online classroom needs to be more methodical about checking in with students. Now, what about those teachers who are starting out with a new group of students that you haven't met face-to-face? Well, here is your new role. You're a social coordinator. Imagine you're the host of a fantastic party where every other attendee is incredibly awkward and painfully shy. You will need to make direct introductions between students. For example, Loreen, this is Jack, Loreen. Jack likes stand-up comedy, art, and his favorite color is yellow. Lorene enjoys travel, cycling, and is a member of a Pink Floyd cover band. I know you're both interested in the circular economy, so you might find it useful to connect for this project. As false as this might feel, it's a tremendously helpful icebreaker for your students, and they will truly appreciate it. Parents, now it's your turn. Remember back to those key skills that help students succeed: self-regulation, persistence, communication. No one expects you to replace the role of the teacher, but you can help your children put the puzzle pieces together and develop these skills. Firstly, sit down with your child and ask them about how they create a plan or schedule. They hopefully already have a few ideas, but you might need to give them some suggestions. As a warning, what works for you might not work for your child, and be okay with the fact that they may have a different method than what you might use. This segues nicely into the second point here. Parents, allow your students to fail. For the majority of students, parents, and teachers around the world, this is a vast experiment in online learning. Things will get messy. Your children will have disappointments and failures. Your role is to help them build resilience through this and not to run interference and try and head off any chance of failing before it could happen. I'm sure many of you are also working from home, having to juggle 1,000,001 things and constantly switch between roles so fast that you run the risk of getting whiplash. For your children, they are watching how you deal with this situation. So model how you overcome technical difficulties. Model how you deal with the frustrations of bad audio on a conference call. Model how to be kind to yourself and have breaks. Eat some healthy food, get some fresh air, connect with friends, and have some downtime. Finally, like your children, you also need to become super communicators. Acknowledge that everyone is trying their best and that teachers make mistakes too. Contact teachers directly if you have questions about the learning or if you're unhappy with what your children are doing. There is no way a teacher is going to know this unless you get in touch with them. It's definitely not an easy task to pivot from face-to-face teaching to 100% online delivery. At Tracker Apps, we're here to support teachers, students, and parents in this new way of working. We have free resources available for skills, service learning, as well as online professional development for schools. Reach out to us if you'd like more information. Parents and teachers, you've got this.